How's it going? Welcome back to a new video, and another one in my series of weekly videos that I seem to be keeping on top of, which is quite good. Feeling quite proud about that. I'm feeling very, well, I would say pumped up, but I'm not really that pumped up about it. But anyway, I thought I would do yet another delve into the world of working in film and TV. And as of the recording of this video, I don't even know what the date is. Anyway, tonight I'm actually visiting a high school to do what they call a pathways talk to school leavers about options for them becoming, whatever they want to do when they leave school, basically. And a friend of mine who's a teacher at head of department there had asked me, would I be interested in coming to speak to some of the kids about my career from the military into working offshore and then film and TV? And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And then it made me think that at the moment, when I've just pulled myself out of this sort of freelance industry, that maybe I may be write a few notes before I start giving any advice about joining this industry. And then I thought, well, maybe I could make that a video about freelancing and the pitfalls and why the hell you would do it. And it can be really shit sometimes. So today's video is going to be all about freelancing and all the pitfalls that come with it. So today we're going to get into this topic that might be just a wee bit intimidating, but to lots of folk out there, it's exciting, fun, as well as intriguing, and all the likes. It's a flexible thing that enables someone, to work on multiple projects, and although it's advantageous, it also has its issues. The differences in persons' traits of freelancers that are brought about by unpredictability of income and the absence of traditional benefits, but also by the complexities of having to manage your own business and finding a sort of healthy work-life balance. So I was going to try and cover off in this video the top pitfalls every freelancer should avoid, or at least be aware of, how they can avoid them, and basically what would set them on a successful path to the freelancing world. I'll even try and lay out some examples that I've fallen foul of and why you need to make sure that you're as switched on as you are efficient in your working ability, because it's all too common that people will take the piss. They'll try and cancel you and they'll expect more from you than you're willing, and then they'll try and pay you less as well for the fact. So it's dog eat dog, and you need to make sure you remain professional, though you need to be ready to defend yourself at any given moment. One of the biggest challenges is the unpredictability of income. Freelancers often face this feast or famine cycle where they might be overloaded with work at times and then they'll have little to no work at other times. And irregular income is a significant hurdle that can really lead to financial instability and a lot of stress. The nature of projects ranging from short-term gigs to longer engagements in production means that work can be really sporadic and unpredictable. One month you might be absolutely smashed with loads of little jobs here and there, and then back-to-back projects, and then the next month the phone will stop ringing, the emails will stop, and it will leave you scrambling to find new projects. So the feast or famine cycle is not only what makes it difficult to plan financially, but also to maintain a steady workflow that you can support your career growth and your personal life. And in this field, you have to be adept at financial planning, saving during the boom times, and then you can weather out the lean periods. And then you need to continuously network to ensure a consistent pipeline of opportunities. And the challenge there isn't just about finding work, it's about finding a balance and stability in the industry, which is known for its highs and lows. Overworking is an issue. And without set work hours, it's easy for freelancers to fall into the trap of working all the time and leading to burnout and health issues. I've seen freelancers they've been caught in the cycle of overworking, and it's a consequence of the industry's project-based nature, tight deadlines, so the drive to meet the demands of production schedules for TV shows and news or live events can lead to long, irregular hours, which then blurs the lines between personal and professional life. And it's only exacerbated by the fear of turning down work, which could mean missed opportunities or being perceived as unreliable, and producers and directors just, not thinking much of you. Consequently, Freelancers may accept more than they can comfortably handle because of that, and it will lead to burnout, stress, and a decline in the quality of the work. And then the absence of the structured work environment further complicates that the ability to set clear boundaries for working hours, resulting in a lifestyle where the work never really truly ends. And the relentless pace not only affects their health and well-being, but also challenges the family life, and especially those who've got kids. Most shoots, though, have a set rate of hours, and you try not to go past that, as the fear of overtime payments is something that production certainly wants to avoid because they don't want to pay you any more than they have to. Similarly, the individual has to be on their toes and not to be taken for granted, as I've mentioned, but the fear of not being invited back or perceived as not being a team player is definitely something that can be used against you. But don't take any shit. They know what they're doing, and if they take the piss and you speak up, you have to speak to everybody else. Just speak out. Fees or undercharging. Determine how much to charge for your services can be really difficult. I get that. And many freelancers end up undercharging for their work, which could lead to financial strain and undervaluation of the services. But there'll be multiple reasons why they might do that. But you need to set the right price for your services. It's critical, but a challenging task, I get that. The competition is fierce, and the pressure to secure projects can lead to for you to undercharge for your work, and then that inadvertently sets a precedent that devalues the skills and the expertise. The issue is particularly acute for roles such as video editing, cinematography, sound design, where the intricacies and time investment required are often underestimated by the clients. Undercharging not only impacts the freelancer's financial stability, but also contributes to a broader industry trend, especially in the UK, that can depress rates for all professionals in that field. So the fear of losing potential gigs to a lower bidding competitor can deter another freelancer from negotiating a fair compensation, which then traps them into the cycle of low-paying jobs that do not reflect the quality of their work or the depth of their experience. So this scenario underscores the importance of freelancers educating themselves about this market and the rates for their services, confidently articulating the value that they bring to the project, and building a network of clients who respect and are willing to pay for the expertise. For the health of their careers and the sustainability of the industry, freelancers, especially in broadcast television, must navigate these delicate balances between the competitiveness and the fair compensation. And it all depends on who you negotiate with. And the production manager, if they're good at their job, then they'll know the value of your skill set. I've had a PM increase my rate knowing that it would benefit everybody, including me, because, I'd agreed to start my initial contract away from home, and the additional money would help with travel and getting set up and stuff. So, that was pretty cool. And I've also gone in too low, got the job, and then quickly realised that the money wasn't covering nearly enough of the amount of work that I was doing. But it was mainly because I was haggled down and I really needed the work. So it was a bit of a lost situation, even though I had the work. The upside to that is, though, that you learn and you'll never let it happen again. And, the work goes on your CV, and you can then list the duties that you had to do and show potential companies how awesome you are and, that you are worth the rate that you are setting. You also have to worry about relying too much on a single client for income, and that can be risky. If the client decides to take their business elsewhere, or they cut on spending, and the freelancer's financial stability can be jeopardised. In TV, you often face the risk of becoming too dependent on a single client or production house for your income, and this reliance can be a wee bit precarious, especially if the client needs to change their budgets or cut budgets or projects, or somebody who primarily works for one TV station or production company on a series of shows, and there are lots of them out there, may find themselves in a vulnerable position if the entity decides to shift its programming strategy and reduce its freelance budget, because they'll do it and they won't tell you they're doing it. It'll just happen. So these unforeseen circumstances, like writers' strikes, they all have everybody scrambling around to replace that lost income, and it impacts, again, financial stability and causing significant stress. So the dependency underscores the importance of diversification. You have to go elsewhere, and you have to actively seek a variety of clients and projects, and not only minimize the financial risk, but also enhance your portfolio and broaden your skill set. And it's easy to become dependent on safe money, getting used to the crew and the staff and the talent on the established network shows, and Loads of people have made successful careers out of long-term TV shows, like Gold Rush, for example, and others have found it really hard to get more work on the CV, and it shows on year in that there's no variety on the CV, especially as a camera operator, and but that allows you to learn and craft and hone your skills. However, achieving the diversity requires a constant networking, marketing, and the ability to juggle multiple projects, which can be challenging in its own right, but it's crucial for sustaining a resilient and thriving career. Otherwise, you'll get stuck in the same show forever and you'll never know any other formats. For those who are new to freelancing, finding consistent work can be challenging, and it requires a lot of effort and networking. And, where job opportunities can be highly competitive and project-based, the inconsistency is particularly pronounced for roles such as maybe not directors of photography, script writers, set designers, maybe producer directors. It varies, but, in limited duration, directly dependent on the ebb and flow of production schedules. So newcomers to the industry might find it especially daunting to break into established networks and secure regular assignments because they always have their go-to list. Moreover, the rapid pace of change in broadcast technology and viewer preferences can lead to shifts of demand for specific skills, making some areas of expertise more sought after than others at different times. So you've got then to not only excel in your craft, but you've also got to be adept at, marketing yourself and networking within the industry to see what's changing and continuously updating your skills and then remain relevant and in demand. And you're very limited about, how you attain that work. There are forums and a couple of websites, especially here in the UK, that are dedicated to jobs. But primarily it's all based on word of mouth. And that only really works if you keep good relationships with people and network and cold call when you hear the employment drums banging. So this constant hustle for the next gig is just exhausting. And at the recording of this, the available work at the moment is almost zero. So this is February 2024. And, there's just a huge wave of freelancers out of work. And you'll be lucky to get, a reply back to an email, let alone the job. The industry in the UK has some of the worst communications that I've ever known. And the level of empathy in the industry from those who are gainfully employed at production level looking to crew up, are, the ones that are responsible for hiring freelancers is almost non-existent. And in some cases, the work offered, if you are contacted, it can be laughable at best on multiple production issues because someone else was just thinking too fast and didn't really plan it all the way through. So you just have to keep at it. You have to, make the contacts matter and make sure that you note down numbers, email addresses, and keep going. The other thing is that the jobs all change in and out. So 1 year when you were getting hired by somebody, they are no longer there, and somebody else is there. Because it's got high turnover TV. I would say the ones that are hired for the longer term gigs, normally office-based production managers and the likes, they are kept on. If they're really good, they just stay on because they like that, they just like being in that job and getting the security behind them. Payment issues. So late payments or non-payments from clients can create cash flow problems, as you'd imagine, and require us to spend time and resources chasing them down, which is a pain in the arse. Facing the challenge of late or non-payment of your services is a situation that can create a massive financial strain and uncertainty, and a delay between invoicing and receiving the payment can be stressful and disrupt cash flow and could be the difference between paying a bill and not paying a bill. It's exacerbated by the project-based nature of the industry, where payment terms can vary widely and are subject to financial policies for different clients. Furthermore, freelancers may hesitate to press for that timely payment for fear of jeopardising future work opportunities but with those clients. But the dilemma in place is that the precarious position that you have is you have to balance again. So you have to be assertive in collecting your payment, and you have to maintain, the positive client relationship. To mitigate these challenges, you're going to often have to be adept again at financial planning and set aside the reserve for the lean times. But additionally, you have to cultivate a diverse client base and remember what happens. Financial risk and ensuring that freelancers are not overly dependent on any single source of income. So But despite the strategies that you come up with for later non-payments, it remains a significant concern, and it highlights the need for industry-wide standards and the practices, and that protects freelancers' rights to a fair, compensation, which is not always the case. And I've been paid more often than not, and like clockwork in most cases, but I am aware of when invoices come in and I know when they'll be paid, and I can work around that one because I've got other jobs and things that are happening. But that's not to say that I haven't had my fair share of issues too. I've been messed about by large contracts from the BBC with their antiquated systems and their archaic approach to paying things due to the sheer size of the company and the turnover sometimes. That person that hired me, like I said before, the person that hired you is gone, and then the next person, the new person, has no idea where you fit into the machine. But saying that, I've also been on the receiving end of a big fat zero for the best part of 9 months, and while it wasn't an overly sizable amount, it was still money due, and to add injury to insult, I'd lowered my rate as a professional courtesy to perhaps maybe gain some valuable insight into the production, how things were doing for my own benefit going forward. And I didn't get that. And, I did receive my money, but it wasn't without a good number of passive-aggressive emails and texts. But by that stage, the person in charge of the purse strings was on a holiday of fuck you. And, by that point, anyway, all the images had been shot and they were in post-production. Other members of the teams were all jet-setting around the world. And it was a total clusterfuck. But, lessons learned. So freelancers will find it hard to achieve a traditional career in advancement, promotions, and races, and you've got to continually seek new professional growth opportunities, and you'll often face unique challenges in achieving traditional markers of career advancement, such as promotions or raises, and more commonly seen in the full-time employment structures. But without a conventional corporate ladder to climb, you still have to carve out your own path and success. You get the recognition, which can be both liberating and daunting. So the transient nature of the project work means that even highly successful projects may not directly lead to a higher pay or more prestigious assignments in the future. But you've continuously got to prove your worth, and then you've got to compete for the new opportunity regardless of the past achievements. And it's this dynamic that can make it difficult for everybody to gauge their career progression, and then can sometimes lead to feelings of stagnation or undervaluation. So to combat all of that, you have to be proactive. You have to seek out new opportunities, expanding, your professional networks, and investing in your own skills and education, because you have to stay relevant and you have to stay competitive, and you may have to explore other avenues for advancement, such as, developing a niche or selling stock footage like I've done before, or leveraging your expertise to consult on projects. I started as an assistant, like a runner, and then I moved on to camera assistant, and I just moved through the ranks quite quickly. But that's because I'm a little bit older at the time when I started and had a solid foundation of confidence and life experience underneath here with transferable skills, which then allowed me to kind of step up. As a veteran of the military and a diver, I used my drone pilot skills to pitch everything together to then get into the camera teams and, earn more money and carve out a better looking CV with a better looking credit. And yes, some folk did take the piss at an early stage, but I was aware of it, and I was like, I'm okay with this. This should help, I guess. But, it should help develop my career. Now, I would only suggest you doing that if you've got the additional skills to fall back on. Because when I get into TV, I was working as an offshore diver, and if the TV hadn't gone the way it did, then I would just went back to that. So it's just, just keeping it fresh, I guess. Keeping contacts and getting on with folk, albeit personality and trust is huge in the diving game. Is you have the life of another man in your hands, and they've got yours and theirs kind of thing. And TV doesn't really have that threatening urgency like offshore and the military. And some hipster losing his shit over what kind of coffee he got, or that camera tape is the wrong colour, or even production staff who haven't even looked at a map in life would cause untold problems, if not death, in my previous careers. But that's just life. That's people. This is how you do it. And I moved on again because I can sense a shift, and the time's right for me. And, I love my time as a director and cinematographer, and I've worked with some really awesome people in some really awesome places. But if you are considering this as a job, I would wholeheartedly make sure you go into it with both eyes wide open and be wary, be smart, and don't get into the loop of being used, not without doing some using of your own. But get what you can. Do your job well and move on. Build a rich tapestry of jobs and abilities, make friends with those who want a good crew around them, but also watch your back. Don't be afraid to, speak up and ask questions. The only stupid question is the one that you don't ask. Be safe and most of all, enjoy it. You'll never know how long it'll last, but it can be really a rewarding career and it can also lead to an unrecoverable shitstorm. So, thanks. If you made it this far, thank you for your continued support. If you have any suggestions on how to make it better, then comment sections, they're for you. And if you didn't like it, well,
you can go fuck yourself.